So this is what I'm trying to do. So I've written this message, and I don't think this explains the problem that I am in. So I am recording this video. So the problem at hand is I am using the HTTP processor to get some data. What is that data? So there is this record that has this optional field. Now, at first, what I was trying to do is rather than having optional here, I was doing something like this. Now, this has this benefit that I don't have to create this guy and I can put things in here. So I have removed one level of nesting, assuming that my server returns a top level null. So I can show you the backend code for this if that is relevant. So with the code that I showed you, I could either return a null or these three fields. But after I have made these changes, that is I have removed the record, the extra nested record, I can do this. I can just send a null here. So I can either send a null or these three guys at the top level. If this had worked, but this with the current version of fastn, it does not. Why? Maybe I can show you. Yeah, nice. Yeah. So for some reason, when you have optional, this URL is the header value is not being read. So why is that? So in fastn, this guy is using this method to get the record. So it is directly asserting that it has the variable value, which I think is this, has to be a record. It cannot be an optional. Uh, so the variable value cannot be an optional, is what I think is happening. So I cannot do it, but that I may be able to go and fix the first code and that might work. But that is not the problem that I'm trying to describe. So let's go back, use this approach, bring the old record back and add the optional field here so that I am at the uh okay. So it is trying to okay, am I this should have okay, yeah, amazing. So we are at the original code and what I have is this guy, which has so sample site HTTP data has this optional field called site, which is this record, which means I have to do this thing, template site ID to access the ID. And this is how I've already showed you. So this is how I'm returning this guy. Uh, yeah, this is fine, I think. I was also returning ID, but who cares? Now, one thing that at this line, the interesting part is this integer field value is an optional integer type. So if I had defined this record myself, I would have written this. So what I'm trying to do here is what I'm actually doing is template site. So I'm accessing template site ID where site can be null because it is an optional. So what I want to happen is when I do this and this is null, the value has to be null, which I think is true here, but I cannot confirm because the code is really not working. So I'm trying to print this FTD integer. Let's try to print this unconditionally. So the code runs, but nothing is printed here. Assuming this is null, but this could be a zero value or something. I am not really sure what is happening here. Anyway, hmm, hmm. So where was I? I was explaining this guy. I also have this record defined somewhere else with this. Maybe I can show you. So this is that record. I hope the font size is okay. Yeah, so this is that record. As you can see, there is an integer field. I will tell you why I have this here. Why is it not just an integer? The reason is basically I am going to have to send this to the server using the ftd get method, which, if you know, takes an ftd integer field if you want to send something with the request. So I could have constructed it elsewhere, but it was convenient for me to have it of with this type in this record itself. Anyway, so I have integer field and string title and string length. So yeah, let's go back here. What I have is sample set where this guy is of type ftd integer id, which I have shown you is this, which is fine. Again, I am trying to access template site title. So what is that? Let's try to find out. So this is template, not a nullable, not an optional, which is great. So I can access this guy. I cannot access site, which I mean I can access site, but it could be nullable. Now the thing I want from here is what I was actually uh, trying to achieve here is group these three could be null values into a struct into a record instance that is nullable, but if it is not, then all the fields are of the types that they say they are. So when title says it is a string and this sample site variable is not null, then title is a string. But this is not what is happening right now. I think okay, when I do an optional here, I don't get an error. Which I think is fine because I have this card clause here. So this is all good. Yeah. So I'm trying to print title. I'm also trying to print length only if this variable is not null. So when I do this, it prints undefined, which let me see. I'm sorry, I'm really confused right now. So what should have happened is this guy, this text should be printed, and these two should not be. But this is not happening because sample site is not nullable because we are explicitly constructing it with some value. Now those values can be nullable, but fastn does not know that they could be. Now the thing that I want, I have also described in the Discord message that I think the title is, once you read through this, the title is pretty accurate, I guess, that I want an optional record using record of optionals. That is, I want to create this sample site, which is an optional record instance using a record of optionals. So in this case, the record of optionals is this guy, which is a record type which holds header values that could be optional. So yeah, I am not. This could. I have tried thinking about some other approach of doing this. Now, the actual business logic that I'm trying to code is basically get something from the URL, send this data back to a backend, get some more information. So let's say this is the template ID 3. I want to know what is this template ID. So the backend will tell me that the template title is something and the template link is something, if this is a valid number. Otherwise, it will tell me nothing, which is none. So I have two sources. I have one in the URL that could be optionally, that could not even exist. So this would not exist. That is why I have this request data optional here. So it could not even exist, or it could be invalid. In either of the case, the title and the link would be optional. So how do I model this in fastn is something is something that I want to be able to do. I could do things. I mean, I would not argue if doing these things dirty is really even dirty, but I could take these things individually. That is, this would be null. Everything is nullable. So I don't. What I do is basically remove null from here and add remove optional from here and add optional to every field. But that would be pretty inconvenient inside the component where I'm trying to access this record. So rather than doing one check for the instance variable, record instance variable, I will have to check for null values for each of these headers. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to explain. Let me know if this is the right way to think about things, or this is just something I am an idiot and this is something that is my skill issue. So let me know how what is the right way to do this. The video is already getting pretty long for a Discord message. So yeah.